Hello everybody, today I am with our Austrian ambassador for East Africa, Dr. Simone Knapp. She is responsible for countries like Ethiopia and Uganda. And today she will tell us something about what is an ambassador doing in foreign countries and what are her tasks, and just tells a little bit about her life. So we come to our first question. How do you get an ambassador?
Thanks for meeting you. It's really nice to be with you. How to become an ambassador? Well, it's also a question of, it's a career. In Austria, the ambassadors are nominated from the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, which means that as a young person, after your university studies, you decide which career path you want to go. You might want to join the Foreign Ministry. And then, so you have to do an exam to be able to join the foreign ministry. And once you're in the foreign ministry, it's really a matter of career and a matter of hierarchy. You start as a young diplomat, you start with different jobs, and then after a while, you might become ambassador to a certain country.
All right, thank you very much. Our next question is, how do you come to the region of East Africa?
Me personally, I have been to the region already in the past. That's why I asked to be posted back again in the region. And since we have an embassy in Addis Ababa, I asked to be posted in Ethiopia, which is a really interesting country and an interesting region. And through Ethiopia, as an embassy, we cover different countries, as you mentioned in the beginning. And that's why I also am happy to cover Uganda.
That's great. Now we come to our next question, and it's a very interesting one. Is Africa in total popular at diplomats? So in Europe and in Austria?
I think Africa is becoming increasingly popular with diplomats in Austria, and in Europe I don't know so much, but in Austria, because Africa has a lot to offer. There are, of course, certain challenges when you live in Africa. It's not so easy to travel back home, and of course, you want to keep your connection with your friends and your family is also at home, and then it's a long way to go. But luckily, we also have a lot of young colleagues coming in the ministry and wanting to go abroad, and they like to go far away. They are a bit more adventurous, so they're happy also to come to Africa and to explore a total different region, total different culture.
Right, great, thank you very much. So now we have to cover a longer question. What are your tasks as ambassador? So please give us a little description about your life as an ambassador.
That is a question that needs a longer answer. You're absolutely right. I don't have, every day looks different for me. That's one thing. So as an ambassador, I represent Austria, which means that I have a lot of interactions with the partner countries of where the embassy is located. So I have a lot of interaction when I'm in Uganda to meet Ugandan officials, to meet the ministries, but also to meet other partners like international organizations or NGOs in the country, to get to know the country better, to get to know the people of the country better, and to get to know our relations with the country better. That's one task. Then, as an embassy, we cover consular affairs, which means, on the one hand, that we cover everything that concerns Austrians who live in that country. And if the Austrian has an issue, they come to us as embassy. So you might have lost your passport, or you might need to renew your passport, or there might be some other questions that you have, consular issues. You might want to get your polling card because there are elections coming up, things like that. This is things that we are handling as embassy. Or people of that country want to visit Austria, so visa, issuing a visa, that's also, and this is a big chunk of work that we do in the embassy. And then in addition to that, we have the possibility to do some cultural programs, support some, jazz group. This year we had a jazz pianist coming to do a concert, or we organize and support Austrian companies when they come to a certain country. They want to get to know, they want to make business, they want to find partners. So all sorts of things. It's really a variety of things that we're doing as ambassador.
And every day is another day, it's a new day, yeah?
Exactly, yes.
That's great. You're not talking that much, because if we would now ask these questions in Ugandan, you would talk for 1 hour. Which things do you support and which things is Austria supporting in Uganda, also which you are included?
Austria has been supporting Uganda since more than 30 years in the area of development cooperation. In those 30 years, we've done a variety of projects. We have supported really a different scales of themes. So at a certain time, we were supporting the private sector. We were supporting cultural activities. We were supporting water and sanitation programs. We were supporting what we call governance, human rights, and access to justice. And now we have focused really on these two areas. So now Austria, in its support, we are focusing on WASH, as we say, and we are supporting and we are focusing on justice, access to justice. In these areas, we support a mix of instruments. That's how we always call it. A variety of partners. We support small NGOs. We support big NGOs. We support international organizations, but we also work with the government, with the host country. So we work with their ministries, with their institutions, with the judiciary or their agencies to implement the projects, in a way that Uganda reaches its goal. And I think that's important because in the end, we are here to support Uganda to reach and achieve its vision. And we don't want to achieve and implement what we as Austria think is useful and important, but we want to have a dialogue with Uganda as a country. And once we understand what Uganda wants, where they want to get, and then we come back to our desk and say, okay, which are the areas that we can support as Austria, just because we have expertise in that area, we have a certain history, we have something to offer as Austria. We say, okay, for some reason, maybe we will not support you, for example, in the education sector because we don't have so much expertise there, but we will support you in the water sector because that's where we have a lot of expertise.
Yeah. And so I also heard yesterday that there's a big step now between the connection from Uganda and Austria. Would you tell us your announcement from yesterday?
There is certainly a big step. We have a new honorary consul here in Uganda who is responsible supporting the embassy because the embassy, as I told you, is sitting in Addis Ababa, who's supporting the embassy and the Austrians who are in Uganda with whatever they need, in terms of support.
And what happens in Austria right now?
And in Austria, we have a second very good news. I wasn't sure which one you're referring to. In Austria, we will have the opening of a Ugandan embassy coming next week, actually, on the 1st of November.
So the connection between these two countries will now improve a lot, yeah?
Will certainly improve from a very high standard already, because I think the connections and relations are very good, but they will be able to deepen even more because we have even more ties and people and colleagues to work on the relations.
That's great to hear. So now something personal. What do you like about being ambassador in East Africa?
I like to get to know the people of these countries. I think it's one of the privileges we have, no, when we live abroad, not only as a tourist, as a visitor, coming and watching and going to the parks, watching the rhinos and the elephants, which is also a beautiful thing to do, but really get to know the country, which means get to know the people, get to know the culture. And I think this is what I really, what I love most on my job. I get to know a variety of people. I get to know so really, really nice people, very kind people, very interesting people from all sorts, from everywhere in life. You know, sometimes I talk to farmers when I visit projects. Sometimes I talk to high officials when we have a political dialogue. And I really enjoy that.
Sounds great. Sounds very interesting. Which directions and rules do you have to follow from the Foreign Ministry of Austria?
Well, actually a lot. Because of course in all the areas that we're implementing, we have to follow the directives we get from Austria, and we of course have also political directives that we follow. So as Austria, we stand for certain principles, for example, for certain values, for certain interests. We have certain interests as a country, and those are the directives we follow. Yes.
Oh yeah. So yesterday I talked with the ambassador of Japan, which is responsible for Uganda, and he told me that it's for Japan it's very easy because the parliament is not changing that much, and so it's not a big deal if it's this parliament is in power or the other one because it's more stability. But especially for countries like the USA, where there are only two big parties, it can make a big influence which party is leading now. And so is it hard for you, for example, to cooperate with the diplomatics from the US because their agenda is changing from time to time? Is it hard for you, or what are your experiences?
It's a bit hard to tell. I think we will see what's going to happen after the elections. In Austria, we are also lucky that we have a very stable foreign policy since many, many years. And I think this is also what we want to carry on, being a stable and reliable partner as Austria, seen as a reliable partner, acting as a reliable partner in the world.
All right, thank you very much. What did you adopt from Uganda during your time as an ambassador?
That's a really nice question as well. I happen to say quite a lot, all protocol observed. You know, in diplomatic affairs, there is a certain protocol. No, you need to be polite. So you want, for example, when you're somewhere at an event, you want to greet the dignitaries, the ministers, for example. So in the beginning of your speech, you would say, good morning, your honorable minister, good morning, your honorable whoever is there. So you go through the dignitaries. But sometimes you're not sure if you mention everyone and not to offend anyone. In Uganda, they have this really, really nice saying, all protocol observed, to be sure that everyone feels, okay, they have also been recognized. And I like this saying so much that I adopted it myself.
So I can also imagine that you already used it a lot,
yes,
yeah?
Indeed.
Okay, so then I would say thank you for being with us in this nice little cafe inside of Kampala, inside of all these motor vehicles. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and all the best in your stay with the Banga project.
Thank you very much.